What is going on to you Virgos out there? So before I forget, because I sometimes I can forget about these things, shout outs to Virgo, the god. Um, you know, I wanted to definitely give her a shout out. You know, I'm not obligated. I just wanted to give it to her just cause, you know what I mean? Anyway, so for you Virgos, you have, by the way, I'm gonna post her YouTube channel in the comment section below, along with other things that I want to post. But anyway, for you Virgos, you have the Knight of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Lovers. So these three cards right here for you Virgos, it's so hot. um, uh, a lot of you Virgos understand that there's definitely a need to change the way that you Virgos date, and just in a general sense, there's a need. There's a need for a shakeup as to how it is that we all really date. And a lot of you Virgos are going to start to change, says the Wheel of Fortune, because let me show you what I'm talking about. Sometimes, my mind goes so fast. The Knight of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune. The Knight of Cups represents how you Virgos will put your best foot forward when you want to. And it seems like even when you try to put your best foot forward, things don't go right, right? The person shows you how much of a total dork they are, regardless of zodiac sign, because they're just not one of those elevated zodiac signs, right? So you may go out with these people, get to know them, and like they pass gas. They you know what I'm saying? They all up in your pockets trying to get you to order the most expensive stuff on the menu, right? And then expect you to pay for them. And the thing is that the Wheel of Fortune and the Lovers represents, that's bogus. And a lot of you Virgos know how bogus that is, because they don't even really like you long term. Maybe they like you, maybe they don't, but they don't like you enough to actually really take you seriously as a significant other, because they're so busy caught up with being on survival mode, because they just like using people. So they end up living hand to mouth because of the mentality that they have. They can't really see the forest for the trees, that more meals are coming on the way if they wouldn't be dating people for meals in the first place. But they don't know that, right? They don't have enough vision or foresight to actually be able to understand things, the bigger picture, for what it is. They're just stupid. They're just very short term. And this is why it is that I call short term thinkers real stupid, because short term thinking breeds stupidity. You can't see what's around you and your surroundings. You can't see the possibilities. You can't see the writing on the wall. That's no bueno. You understand? That's no bueno. And it's no good, because a person can end up squandering a lot of great opportunities because of the fact that they spend so much time only looking at the right now, and not being able to kind of get out ahead in front of a possibility or an opportunity enough to actually end up on the correct side to benefit from that, right? So it's the same thing when it comes to relationships. How many people have you Virgos been on a date where Wheel of Fortune, the Lovers? You Virgos, sadomasochism. You Virgos just feel used. You're trying to get to know somebody, and like they're showing up on these dates with these crazy expectations. You know what I mean? They got, you know what I'm saying? They holding on to their stomach. Their stomach is growling. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying? So I just see a lot of you Virgos understanding this, like there definitely needs to be a change up when it comes to how people conduct relationships, because a lot of you Virgos are you tired of, obviously, like I said before, people just talking to you like trash. And then it's not even that, because it doesn't even have anything to do with like other people taking you for granted, because if they do, you just gonna ghost. You're just gonna stay away from them, right? And let them deal with their own consequences. The Knight of Cups and the King of Cups, the Knight of Cups and the King of Wands, represents You Virgos are just realizing that you're just tired of like the greater society, the fact that a lot of people are not coming up with the answers to this, right? The way to not get used on the first date is to make sure that the two of you go Dutch. That's how you work it out. Because when you don't discuss these things, this is why I keep saying a lot of people don't know how to date. And a lot of people, and the reason why they don't know how to date, Virgos, is because they don't actually learn from their mistakes, right? Luckily, I'm one of the few people, or a moderate amount of people, who actually do learn from their mistakes. And one of the things that I realized about that is I kept losing money because I'm not calling the person on the phone and saying, hey, texting them, hey, when we go out, you better bring your own money, because the shaming worked on me. It was, well, that's not your place. You're not supposed to be asking. And then sometimes I would do it because I wanted to, right? Sometimes I would do it to see if the person had any kind of integrity and shame. And I would just experiment. I would just look at it. And what I realized is a lot of people, and I'm a Virgo myself, what I realized is a lot of people would they lack such integrity, they would really take the date. There was nothing inside of them that was like, you understand what I'm saying? Because they're decent, it's like, all right, I suppose I should do the right thing. I suppose I should, sincerely try to do the right thing. Fine, okay. It's like at the end of The Last Dragon when Bruce Leroy or Timac saved Sho'nuff from drowning because he had knocked Sho'nuff out. And then what happened is that he realized that Sho'nuff was knocked out face down in water. So he was like, all right, let me go ahead and pull him at least out of the thing so that he can breathe. Same scenario here. It's the integrity. So a lot of you Virgos realize that the way that you're going to be dating people now is you're going to have these discussions before you actually go out now. And it's crazy because it's that sentiment that I'm telling you Virgos here right now is actually becoming mainstream, where more people are starting to talk about how these types of discussions need to be had. Yes, because it keeps you from being taken advantage of. Let me explain something to you Virgos. If a person gets bent out of shape about having to pay their half for the meal, that's a dub. That's not even the type of person that you should want. Because how are they helping themselves to your money? Excuse you? The nerve, the disrespect, the nerve, the ideology that a person is infringing on your right to spend your money how you want. That's criminal. That's literally, that's criminal. That's a criminal act. How they gonna tell you how to spend your money? That's against the Constitution. That's against the law. I don't know if people knew that, but the Fool and the Three of Cups now is about how, so a lot of you Virgos, like I said, you're changing it because you're going to have these types of discussions. So, and it's going to really speed up that process for a lot of you Virgos, because the Fool and the Three of Cups is about how you don't care if the person, like I said, is not willing to actually go Dutch with you. For you Virgos, that's not even really the type of person that you would even really want in the first place, because, excuse you, right? Who are they to be really getting upset at the fact that you don't want to come out of your own pockets and spend your own hard-earned money like it's their money or something like that? That's not how things work, right? So a lot of you Virgos are going to find out that when you have this type of approach, you're going to see who's real and who's fake, because fake people are going to be getting offended. And let me go ahead and talk about that right now, right? Because of the Queen of Wands, That bougie mentality is why a lot of people get offended, because a lot of people are very easily offended. And they use social shame. This is why it is I don't care about all that social shame crap, because they use social shame as a means of getting you to do what it is that they want you to do. This is why it is I say I don't deal with moralism, because society will imply that like you should pay, you should do this, but it's right, and if you don't, people will shame you. But it's like what's past the shame? What let's just say if you stand 10 toes down on it and you stand on business and you go, I don't care what happens after that. You realize that the person can't take, or they can't take advantage of you, or it's harder for them to take advantage of you because you really succumb to or back down to the shame. The shame is what gets you to not see the end, to not see what's on the other side of that shame. But other than that, you Virgos realize that the person can't really force you. Hold on a second. To make sure, because I don't like anybody sneaking up on behind me just in case. I'm kind of backs to the door and everything like that, but you realize that the shame isn't really a powerful tool anymore when you don't really care about it, because you know what you're doing. You're not paying because you're not trying to be taken advantage. It has nothing to do with treating somebody poorly, right? So the Queen of Wands now represents how the Queen of Wands is about they're fronting, right? Some people right now are fronting as you're dating to act like they are bougie, right? They're so upper class, but then they can't even pay for their meal. They can't even pay for things that are cheap, really, in the bigger scheme of things. And the thing is that the Five of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords is because they don't want you to actually get hip to it. That's why the shame is coming on so extra. Those people don't want you to get hip to it. So some of you Virgos probably was talking to a couple of people, probably hung out with a couple of people. You probably didn't say anything. And here they are with the shaming tactics. Aren't you going to pay? No. Because you got to also understand too, Virgo, that these people who are parasites, they don't come outside of their house with any money in their wallet, their purse. They don't. And they counting your money. And when they go out to these restaurants, they usually order the most expensive stuff on the menu. Show and prove. Because this is why there's the ebb and the flow battle, so to speak, of, well, if I spend so much money on you on the first date, you better be giving it up. You have to. And if you don't, if you don't, I'm gonna shame you. The only problem is the shame only goes one way, because a lot of these people who come outside of their house with no money, they don't have decency, so the shame doesn't work on them. They'll do anything. They don't have integrity. They don't have morals. This is why I tell you, Virgos, you got to get rid of the morals. I'm not saying you have to get rid of the integrity, but things like integrity, virtue, has nothing to do with morality. These are lessons. These are principles. These are life lessons, because the term virtue means skill. When I talk about patience as a virtue, patience is a skill. I'm not talking about something moral or dealing with morality. We don't do morality over here. We're scientists over here. We study, we analyze, we understand the situation, we know, we break it down, and we actually handle our business the way that we need to. That's how we prioritize it. We don't do it from a superstitious standpoint. That's not how we do it over here. So let's clarify the Five of Pentacles. Four of Cups, Four of Swords, Page of Swords, King of Swords, King of Wands. Right. The Five of Cups and the Four of Swords represent Again, it's going to be harder for people to take advantage of you, Virgos, because you're going to actually start trying to find out what's in their pocket, what's in their wallet. Like, hey, we going half, we going Dutch. You Virgos are going to start moving in the way that you should, where you're going to go out, pay for your stuff. And if the person doesn't have enough money, right, if it's an instant date, that is, if it's an instant date where you don't have to call the person and do all of that and set something up or follow up or whatever the case may be, they're going to have to immediately have their own money. Okay, I'm not one of them. Me personally, I've paid before for 2 people, but for the most part, I had the people who I was dating, no lie, going Dutch or paying for me, because I always kept it 100. I ain't got money. I'm literally telling them this before we go out. Listen, I'm gonna let you know right out. I'm gonna be totally transparent with y'all. I am a bum. I will, no shame in my, cause I'm being honest. I don't have a whole lot of money in my pocket at the time. I don't have a whole lot of money. I'm a teenager. I'm trying to get my stuff together. I'm trying to come up with the best possible plan. You can't even trade stocks up until you're 18 years old legally. You can't. Not until you 18. So as a teenager, I ain't even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna cap. Like I'm Mr. Money Bucks and money bags and all this other type. I used to tell them straight out, Virgos, I ain't got it. And one thing I realized is talking about it over. See, this is why communication is so important. This is why Virgos rule. This is why we excel. Us being ruled by Mercury, if our mouthpiece is tight, we can, and we have enough heart and our mind is good, we can actually clear a lot of these problems, figure out a lot of these problems as they come. I found more success in telling people immediately what it was and being with no ego, transparent. I ain't got the money. And I'm being honest. I'm not stunting like I'm an Instagram star. I ain't got the bread for this. What would happen? They would be okay with it because I was honest about it. See, you see, this is what I'm trying to say, Virgo. You only gonna get taken advantage of. People only get taken advantage of because of their lack of communication, their lack of understanding. They don't take the time to get to know the person. They don't. You know what I'm saying? They don't actually do all that type of stuff. Sometimes people wild out and they go above and beyond and they show you some craziness. I ain't even gonna lie. Nothing is 100% guaranteed, but in certain situations. But in every situation I kept my mouth shut about, the person would try to take advantage of me. Every situation I kept the 100. Look, I ain't got it. Look, this is what I'm working with. So don't come over here expecting a hotato of money and me just throwing it in the air like it's raining. Hey, listen, I got $20 to spend on you. And look at them with the bold face. Because I had $20 to spend. I'm a teenager trying to figure it out going to public school. If I had money like that, you think I'd be at public school? $20. So the Page of Swords and the King of Swords now and the King of Wands this is where you Virgos need to go with it. You got to really start being yourselves. See, Gemini is the light side of Mercury. Virgo is the dark side of Mercury. You Virgos got to start being yourselves.